Hello, and welcome back to Beneath the Beat podcast. This is part 2 of our conversation with Dutcher Snedeker. Enjoy. So we've been talking about your band a lot, Earth Radio. For everybody who is listening, check them out. They're on Spotify. Are they on pretty much every platform?
Yeah, we use CD Baby to distribute. So Tidal, iTunes, all of it. We also have it on Bandcamp and SoundCloud for those of you who eschew normal streaming.
And you guys just came out with a new album.
Yeah, it's called Reanimate. And we dropped it August 21st. So it's still pretty recent.
Yeah. I mean, we all in the band, in our bands, are huge fans of you guys. Like, you get stellar musicians. The music is so unique. You could tell the jazz background, but you can also just tell it's like a melting pot of influences, and the way that you guys can like put it all together. And Hannah's voice just soaring over top of everything, man. It's fun to watch. I miss seeing you guys. I miss seeing you guys on the regular.
Yeah, for real.
Especially once COVID stops, or once COVID gets contained.
When they turn it off.
When they
turn off, they press the kill switch on the COVID.
I think we've had enough.
Yeah, done.
Yeah, and you're in the Grand Rapids area. I mean, you guys play outside of Grand Rapids too, but check them out. Beautiful stuff. I'm going to actually, if you don't mind, I'm going to share. I got a video pulled up.
Oh, sure.
This is your guys' Tiny Desk submission.
Yeah, from last year.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Technology.
Yeah,
no, this is one of my favorite tunes from you guys. And
thanks.
Whenever you guys play it, I just start bobbing my head big time.
Dude, that should be a genre in and of itself.
Head bob
music.
Head bob music. Oh,
it's not the head bang, it's the head bob.
That's like what Kareem Riggins has, that head nod suite.
Yeah.
And the whole album's just like boom bap, like. Yeah.
Is it really? Oh man, I'll have to check that out.
It's great.
Yeah, I have a buddy who moved out to California, who he describes his whole creative process as head bob.
Head bob.
What's gonna make the head bob?
Yeah. He's like, that's what I go for. It's that when you're just sitting there, just like, what's up? Like that's the stuff, though.
I feel like that's a universal. Like, everybody can appreciate that, though. You know.
Yeah.
So here's a little snippet of the tune "Pipe Dream," and this is you guys' Tiny Desk submission last year. And man, I really, really dig this video a lot. So we're gonna play a little bit of this.
Awesome.
2 oak, 1 oak, water, water.
There is something in the water. You skinned flint, skin, and it doesn't seem to bother when you control the wind. It's not alright, it's not alright. It probably should be. There are people dying. How is your third home? It's not alright, it's not alright, it's not alright. It probably should be. There are people crying. It's okay if I'm okay. Goes around, comes around. It's not alright, it's not alright, it's not alright. It probably should be. There are people asking. The irony is the pipe dream. It's not You skin and it doesn't seem to bother when you control the man. There is something in the water. You skin and it doesn't seem to bother when you control me.
Oh, I love it, man. I love
Yeah.
it. Yeah, check them out. Wow, that is good
Yeah.
stuff.
That video too, like it all. Every time I see it, I'm like, because I share it for like, hey, this is what we look like, and
Yeah.
and that video. If people are like, well, videos seem like it take a lot of time. Like it was like the week before the deadline last year, and we had like 3 hours, and that was get there, set up, sound check. We probably did 2 takes.
Mm-hmm. And like,
And
all right, we're done.
yeah, because they were like, well, can we get comfortable? It was like, that was, the 2 months of rehearsals. That's our getting
Mhm.
comfortable.
Yeah, man,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And very Sarah Ford with Surf Ford Productions. She helped put the video together. It was like brought the camera crew to do the couple camera angles, and then I brought a bunch of PA gear that I no longer own. And Austin Kane ran sound and like multi-tracked it.
Mhm.
And so it was just very much like, we're here. And it was at Hugo Claudin's place, Mexican Sands Frontiers.
Okay.
Which is really French for Mexicans Without Borders.
Mhm.
I just can't speak French. But Hugo's great. I've seen like, Tony Malaby do a solo concert there. I've seen like, when back in the day when Chris Lawrence was in Michigan, he would put together groups and do cool sets of music. Vox Fedora, when they were a band, they kicked off their career at his house.
Mhm. Mhm.
So he's just kind of been this like this stubborn artistic presence
Mhm.
in
Yeah.
downtown GR, being like, hey, I'm not moving out, you all need to change.
Dude, that's so admirable though. That like that I don't even know like what to call it, but that like unbreakingness, the unwilling to
Mhm.
bend and say like, no, this is what I am, this is what I do, y'all are gonna have to deal with it. Like,
Yeah, it's like,
I love that.
It's like, I'm gonna host concerts, I'm gonna play percussion, I'm gonna paint like luchador themed like canvases,
That's
take
so,
photos.
That's so cool. That's so cool. And that's one thing I feel like is really inspirational for me, and I feel like a lot of people, it's that unapologetic who you are. You know what I mean? What do you want to say? What do you represent? I love that. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's you see it and you're like, man, that like, you think like, oh, that seems so easy to do, and then there's days where you're comparing yourself on Instagram and you're like, this isn't what it's like. I shouldn't be comparing. Like, we're all
Right.
on our own journey, and we're all
Absolutely.
But yeah, to see someone like him who's he's been there, I think he's been in GR at least 20 years, 25 years, and has had that loft a good chunk of it. And yeah, he's just like very vocal about like what he wants to change in the city, and being active and like being a part of the change in terms of the culture, like offering his house as a venue, but also like making statements with his art or with photography or anything he's involved in.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really cool.
It's such a unique thing to find, when somebody is like they not only say, this is what I want to change, but they're taking the steps to actually make it change. feel like especially nowadays, so many people like to talk, but so many people don't like to back it up with real action.
Right.
Which the action is what's important. Like, nobody cares if you just talk, but you gotta do something to change it.
Yeah, I've been feeling for this artist, another artist in GR, also, very much like This Is Who I Am. Isan Somersall. He also has a producer name, Pluto Monday. He kind of makes. I always think of him as very like Flylo-esque beats, like a little bit of Dilla, a little bit of like the psychedelic, but there's rooting in like soul and Motown and funk samples, and hip hop. But he's also a really cool visual artist, and he was part of that, like back in June when there's a bunch of riots downtown and a bunch of business windows were broken. There was a call to artists to like paint on the wood that replaced the windows, and he painted this beautiful mural, and it was, I think it was like related to Breonna Taylor, and then some lady came over and like painted over it and was like, this is not what we thought it was going to be, and he's like, all right, I'm gonna get back out there and paint it again, and he at the same time he's painting another mural that's like equally as powerful in a different spot. Like and then he's got a really tall one. I think it looks like on the wall of like Studio Park downtown. That's just like a whole side of a building.
Oh wow, I would love to check that out.
Yeah.
Was that they didn't paint over it yet, did they, or they didn't?
The Breonna Taylor one, I know that he made a post about it because someone had, tried to paint over it or did paint over it. I forget exactly the situation. All I know is someone was like tampering with it because, they probably just made him uncomfortable, and they said something else. Is like, it's not what we wanted, peace and love, and like, we're done with Hallmark cards.
What did you expect when you got a call from artists?
It's so funny with that's the thing I think we all see is this weird, when I feel like a lot of artists hate the business end of it because so much of the corporate structure around like, we support the arts only if it's like, like this flavor and it makes our city look good and doesn't ruffle feathers and like doesn't make a statement or
right.
It's like, but that's not, artists reflect their environment.
And I feel like that's something that we as artists here can be an active part of changing. Is that like, especially within the business side, because running a band is running a business, and there's no rules that say, hey, you have to run your business like that. You know what I mean? Like it's our job to say, no, this is what we stand for. This is how we're going to run our businesses. These are the environments that we like our partners to work in,
Yeah. And someone said, I don't know, maybe it was an Instagram quote, I don't know, but someone said, it's like, you don't need a degree to own a business, but you need a business degree to work for certain businesses. And it's like, oh, so that, I think it probably was a statement on like, the education system or the job market or something, but it also spoke to like, you might not see yourself as like a buttoned up suit and tie, shaking hands, golfing with a corporate dude from Meyer or something on the weekends, but you still can be a business owner. And I think of like that YouTube channel, All Gas, No Brakes. It's a dude who literally he kind of plays a straight man interviewer, and he goes to like, he'll go to like Burning Man and Donald Trump Jr.'s book signing and like NASCAR, and like he'll go to these very like specific like gatherings of certain kinds of people and cultures, and or like he's gone a bunch of times to different areas of Florida, and like he won't, like, he does kind of the the thing where he plays a straight man, people are comfortable talking with him, and then in these interactions he finds the humor or like the story he wants to tell, and he edits it together really well. And like Tim and Eric just picked him up to like fully produce a show doing this. And he was like, he had been interviewing people like he would just, you know, like in his teens, like, oh, I'm just gonna go to this city, and his parents would be like, where are you going? Going to this state far away from where we are right now. And he would
like,
spend
all right,
time
see
there. Yeah, and he would just like, he would interview random people like, oh, I'm at a truck stop, and he have a little tape recorder and be like, hey, so like, what's up? And like,
wow, what's the name of that YouTube channel again?
All Gas No Brakes.
Oh wow.
The first one I saw was it was in July, 4th of July weekend. All these out of towners going up to Marquette to party on beaches, and just the types of like the levels of alcohol, but also the you know, the mixture of that with people who are like, oh, this might go viral, and like the things that people would like try and say or do, and he's just there as a straight man being like, okay, like,
yeah,
sure, like
just documenting everything, letting everything just unfold in front of him, basically.
Yeah, not causing, not like willing anything into existence, just being there to like capture that environment, that moment in time.
That's so interesting. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, but I think of like that, you know, his business model was, I like talking to people, and then this like small production company was like, hey, we dig that you like talking to people, we've seen some of your videos, what do you need from us? And he was like, I just want a camper, like a camper from the 90s. So they buy him like this mobile home, and it's him and his best friend from high school and his best friend from college, and that's the team, and they just travel around the country doing this.
Wow.
That's so cool. That's so cool. That's like my older brother, he doesn't do like YouTube or anything like that, but that's like his dream, is to live like that. So him and his partner just got this like 70s van that like for my birthday, my parents have this property, so we all like went out to my parents' property and we camped out, and you know, sitting on the lake and all that kind of stuff. And that's what my brother and his partner brought. They brought their van, and like the seats all turn around, and there's benches in the back that like come out and you can shift them into a bed. I was like, dude, that is sick. I want that. Like, I want that van, bro.
That's sweet.
Yeah. I used to get Modern Drummer magazines, and I remember I like I was like just flipping it through, and I saw this guy who had his RV, and in the back it opened up, and like this whole level came down and has drums right on it. So he was able to drive wherever he wants, back his RV up, and just like drum wherever. I was like,
that's so cool.
I want that. And I don't have that. I don't have it.
Dude, speaking of like homes though, I've been like really imagining the kind of home that I want to live in. And I'm like, I think getting like, because I looked into the cost of getting like a pole barn.
Oh yeah.
It's only like to get like a huge pole barn, it's only like 20 grand. And I'm like, dude, you could get a huge pole barn, buy a chunk of land, put that up, and then make it literally whatever you want it to be. Because it's just a giant empty space. Like, what do you want to do? Like, wow. I'm super into that idea of making something wherever you want it and whatever you want it to be.
Yeah, that sounds. I play around with that, and then I see what is it? Another YouTube channel. Living big in a tiny home.
Oh, dude, tiny homes. Tiny homes are the shit.
And like the dude, like, because at first you're like, okay, you see a couple episodes and like, okay, it's similar vibe, and then you just start to see like, oh, these people like treated it like this. These people built it into the land. This made it very sustainable. This person, like, I just stayed in an Airbnb that was a tiny house, and it was literally the lady who bought. It was an old, old Old Mission Peninsula up kind of near Traverse City.
Yep.
And she bought this old schoolhouse and renovated it with her husband. And then they had a sunroom on the back that, you know, because their property had some trees and it was like next to an orchard, there wasn't a lot of, you know, sunlight coming into that room. So he literally just like cut that part of the house off and then added another wall and added an attached small little bathroom area, and it's now a guest house.
Dang.
That's
like,
so
that's
cool.
Crazy.
That's so cool. I love it. I love it. You know, there's so many ways that you can live like off the grid now. You know what I mean? You can be totally off the grid and have all the amenities of living on the grid, you know?
Yeah. That channel has one of their most viewed is one of the violin players for the Trans-Siberian Orchestra has a fixed tiny home that has like a little bit of a higher ceiling, so it feels a little more spacious. And then she has a mobile one that's like, you know, it's treated to be a studio, and since she's a violinist, it's like got the treatment to protect all the acoustic instruments, and then she's got weatherproof speakering on the outside with a pop-out like stage deck.
No way.
What?
And I was like, she could just literally like just tour and be like, I'm gonna do a show, and during the day I got lessons, and like just pop up in a city. And
that
like,
is
that's
so
crazy.
sick. That is so fucking cool. That is so cool.
Something I've never thought about doing ever in my life. It's like you just don't think about that stuff, you know? It's crazy.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
So creative.
It's crazy with nowadays how I feel like when you're trying to be like a musician, you're trying to find like the right path, like what works, yes and no. But there's no, especially now, there's no right answer. You can make anything work. You just have to go out and do it and be willing to put in the sweat to actually make it happen. Because anything is possible.
Yeah, it's so. I think of someone like Bill Wurtz. I don't know if you've seen any of his stuff.
I don't think so. No.
He's like, he's the combined like satisfying of like really well arranged music that, you know, it's like a little bit of pop, a little bit of funk, has its own kind of vibe. I don't think he buys new instruments. It's all the same sound palettes and like little quirky things. When you watch the videos, you're like, oh, he always does these little MIDI horn stabs, like just pops one in somewhere. But then all the videos are edited with like 2008 Sony Vegas, so it's like hand-drawn figures and clip art and weird color alterations, but it's all like painstakingly mapped to the music. So there's like a vibe to how everything moves and the hits, and like, and their songs about nothing, but also like you can glean some meaning from it. Like
It's very unique visual art though.
Yeah,
In correlation with music.
One, it's like he's got songs, and his most popular video it's a 20-minute history of the world, and it's all like
I've seen
like,
it.
Yeah. So yeah, that whole like, and then they went to the Mesozoic period, Mesozoic, and the dude, like
that has some
what was
crazy
that?
shit in it. Some crazy shit.
Yeah.
It's so good.
So
Andy, if you haven't
like,
seen that, you should watch it.
What's it called again?
I think it's
History of the World.
Dang.
Oh yeah, you just pull it up. But
Yeah.
We'll put that in. We'll put that link in the description.
Right. Yeah, I see someone like him because he doesn't tour, and the only time I've seen him outside of that, he did like one interview with like Genius. He was on a couple podcasts, and then he played drums on a Scary Pockets tune. And that's like all I've seen him do, other than, you know, put out a video that's like very aesthetically pleasing, musically nerdy, like a very distinct animation style. He might do like a couple of those a year, but the last video he put out like 2 years ago was called "I Think I Might Quit." And I'm like, did he quit? Like, he hasn't put anything out in 2 years. I'm just waiting.
I think I might quit. Well, I want to take a right turn here real quick.
Oh, sure.
I'm just gonna pull this up and then let me see here. So yeah.
Yep.
Could you explain this to us, my friend?
Yeah, so the design of just my face, I had a photo where, you know, I rarely take selfies, and I just happened to take a selfie, and I then, like...
Andy, what are you doing?
Yeah, just be closer to the...
Let's see the resemblance here.
So yeah, I took the selfie. That was just random selfie, and then early March, when, you know, there was all the different jams for Bernie and different fundraisers for Bernie, I had a friend who, like, part of his brand is like very grassroots politics focused. He's a saxophone player in Iowa, and he's like campaigned hard for Bernie, like getting on billboards. Like, there's a picture of, like, he's got a hat with like his artistic thing on it, and Bernie's wearing it when he came to Iowa.
Right.
And this dude was advertising his friend, who was like basically offering illustrations for donations to Bernie. And it was like, if you give like money to Bernie, like hit me up. I'll draw, like I'll illustrate a picture you send me. And I did it, and I sent him the picture, and then it turned out like really well. So I was like, wow. And I was like, can I use this for something? And he's like, yeah. And then, you know, months went by, and the band knew about the illustration, and Justin actually came up with the idea for the shirt. Like, I didn't know he was doing it, and then there was a mock-up. That was the first time I heard about it. I was like, whoa, it's my face on a shirt. And then we did a run of 12 to start, and, you know, we put it out there, and they were just all gone, like, instantly.
Is there like a link we could put in the description?
I've already got it. Don't.
Yeah.
I've already got it.
He's
already got it.
It's called Pass the Dutchie. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Pass the Dutchie. It's kind of like the song, but also like, I don't know, a lot of our fans are of the, you know, festival culture, smokes weed, whether, you know, casually or medically. And it was just a play, because I remember my mom bought a shirt because she was like, oh, it's you, I'll buy it. And then one of her friends was like, do you know what Pass the Dutchie is? And I was like, oh, sorry. She's like, I don't care, but
yeah. And for everybody listening, it's literally just a picture of Dutcher's face on a T-shirt, but it's very aesthetically pleasing.
Aesthetically pleasing. No.
Yeah, man.
Great.
I saw that on my newsfeed like multiple times. I'm like, dude, I want that shirt.
And now too, we're looking at actually two things. Like, we're gonna put, you know, the Pass the Dutchie shirts on our website. They've been up on Bandcamp because we like did some kind of shift in like which email account was associated with the band website, and then for some reason that in that interim of like oh, here's the new email, it shut down our site for like 4 days. And I was like,
wow.
Why did it do that? So now that the website's back up, it'll be on earthradiomusic.com. But the other thing is we're working on Mask the Dutchie, which will be that same image with me in a mask that says Earth Radio. We have Eli Kahn. He's made about 20 masks right now, and we're gonna like, you know, screen print it onto those masks.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
It's like the stuff like that, the goofy / unorthodox / just spur of the moment stuff. It's like, hey, let's put this in the merch. It's like, boom.
Yeah, I'm all for. I've been really digging, like, you know, like play to this, what's like what's realistic. Like, okay, we're not going to order, you know, like we're still sitting on like 300 vinyl because we ordered 500 vinyl. And, you know, we don't have the marketing power of like Nike. We can't just like pump it out to the world and create a demand for something that's, you know, very niche. But so I'm all about like, hey, like pre-orders, like people pay for the shirt up front, they get their shirt. We don't have to worry about like, we bought 50 shirts. Does anyone want a shirt? And then also with these masks, like, okay, let's try, you know, like 20 and 10 of them will be like one size and 10 of them will be a little bit bigger. We'll just see who digs it.
Yeah, it's cool, man.
Dude, to bring this whole thing full circle, that's one thing that I really wonder when it comes to the social media game. Like, how much of it is really like, I'm at that point where I can post things that aren't just about the band and aren't just about like the music, but are about those weird unorthodox things. Because I wonder, it's like, where is that threshold where it's like, okay, now I can post weird shit. You know?
Yeah, I hear it from a lot of people that they, you know, they're looking for, and whether or not, you know, they see something that's authentic and it's really authentic, or if it's like dressed up so well because of a team and production that it feels like, oh, it's just, you know, it's just me and The Rock hanging out in our living room. And it's like, no, he's got his tequila in the shot. It's well lit. He just got done with a workout. He's wearing the brand. Like, it's all. But, you know, I feel like there's more. I see it in jam band culture a lot too, where like it's very, very, you know, very personality driven, and you know, like Desmond Jones has the Jonesies little fan base, Facebook, and Chirp has the Nest, and Stormy Cromer has the Chrome Rads. Like, everybody in the jam scene has like, or even like, you know, Joe Hurtler and the Rainbow Seekers with, you know, the decision of was it Aaron? Aaron's like taking a step off of touring and he's only playing local shows, but he's such a personality in that band that it's like, you know, people are like, oh, what's like, I'll go to those local shows because, you know, I like him as a person.
Right.
And then, you know, Caleb Belzing is in the band now, and he's going to be with them on tour. But we just did a wedding gig together. So he was talking about like, you know, I'm not going to try and copy another person's personality. I'm going to find my own vibe.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's part of this, you know, telling the story of the band. You know, I sometimes post just goofy videos. Like there was a video of us in the UP where we're listening to some jazz tune and Hannah's adjusting the temperature on the microwave or like the oven, and it's making a note. So I was just like, ooh, that's so hip. Like that one.
Oh, dude. Yeah. So
yeah, I try not to force those moments. And, you know, there have been times where I'm like, oh, this is so cool. And then it's like, no, it feels too like trying to stage it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get
the
that.
Spur of the moment for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that struggle of like, it's like I want to tell people about the band, but I also want it to seem like, you know, we're also being professional and advertising, you know, the things we're creating and doing, but I also don't want to seem too corporate, but I also don't want to like be so relaxed about it that nobody knows what's going on.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm increasingly, like, the more time passes, I'm increasingly more of the like, fuck it mentality. You know, like where it's like, dude, I mean, I feel like our whole culture right now is based upon like 15 minutes of fame and like, you know, that one post that'll go viral and get me 1 million followers. But then like, if you look at like the engagement of future posts, they're still like you're fucking 10 people, you know what I mean? It's like, dude, what does it matter? I'm gonna put shit out that makes me happy. I'm gonna put shit out that, you know, is engaging for me. It's the shit that I want to put out, and if people like it or not, then I don't care. But
Right.
it's an interesting thing when that comes into the band, because it's like not everybody shares that viewpoint, and
Yep.
you want everything to be super polished. You know, it's a really interesting dynamic to try and figure out. You know.
Yeah, especially now with, you know, everyone's learning their version of like like a remote streaming concert, or like do they want to do that, or like does it make sense with the equipment and the resources we have? And I know that's been an issue with Earth Radio, is like we just did another like at home pre-recorded set for virtual harvest gathering, which happened this past weekend. And that, you know, after that video, you know, most of the band was kind of like, I don't really like doing these live stream and these remote concert things anymore. And I'm like, we've only done like 4. like in the, we haven't really even like done it to where we're like, you know,
could really even get opinion of it.
Yeah, I'm like, it's just we've done it because like we've been asked to do it. Like we haven't done it out of like, oh, what if we had fun with, you know, trying to set up Hannah's basement as like, you know, we put a camera in different corners and like, you know, change the lighting up a little bit and, you know, set it up to where we can leave some things set up, and then all we have to do is like turn on a couple things and we have our own like recording or live streaming space. And so it's, you know, and I see that too as like you know, I want everyone to kind of feel that vibe, but it's, you know, I can't force anyone to be in that mode of thinking when they're like, you know, they really gravitate towards like, I just want to go into the woods and write music, or I just want to like, I'm like, Hannah's really big into like sound healing, and she's researching that and like wanting to do more stuff with yoga and meditation and so yeah, I get it, but
yeah,
content's weird and 2020.
It is. It's a crazy game, you know, and with that whole like I mean TikTok ban, not ban thing, like it's never change. It's an ever changing world, you know.
Yeah.
I just found out, I was talking with Kay about this 2 days ago on our gig. Instagram, the algorithm is slightly shifted to where, you know, it's like likes and comments are now like 3rd and 4th tier, and it's all about shares and saves. And then like comments with less than 4 words don't count towards engagement. And I'm like, then what is like 10 fire emojis enough? Like what? Like we all just like,
yeah, are we counting
emoji
emojis
hands?
Wow.
Yeah, and that's the part of me that has that like fuck it mentality. You know what I mean? Because it's like, man, these algorithms are ever changing, and I feel like if you focus too much on what the algorithms are going to do, it's like it can drag you down, and you're into a point where you're like, man, I'm creating this because I hope the algorithm will pick it up, you know, like things like that. It's like,
I think regardless though, the share, like if somebody is sharing your material, that's like the biggest compliment that you can get on social media for sure.
Yeah,
so I mean that's hype enough, just getting shared, let alone getting your algorithm.
Yeah, I was thinking of one last thing on that subject of like creating to a format. Like it used to be like, you know, like vinyl only has X amount, so you can only create to X amount of space on a vinyl. And then like, oh, if we have under 4 minutes, it's more likely to get radio play. So that's like way easier metrics to work in as an artist than like, well, you know, it's all about, you know, social engagement, but you're also like, it has to seem authentic while also somehow having like decent production, but also like, and like different platforms have different expectations, and Twitch, like TV doesn't even have an algorithm. So it's like, you have to market everywhere else to get people to come to Twitch. Like, like unless you're like they list the top 10 for like, you know, like, oh, I'm playing Fortnite, top 10 people, and then everyone else is just in a big sea of like, well, you just got to know who they are, and then you seek them out directly.
It's crazy. These algorithms are a good and a terrible thing, you know. And I actually just watched a documentary about social media As,
Is it the
as
Social
a-
Dilemma?
Yes, it is.
Oh,
The
I need to
Social
watch
Dilemma.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it will. I mean, it's a lot of the things that I feel like I've thought about before, but hearing it from like the CEO of Pinterest and like the guy who worked on Gmail. Like,
Oh yeah.
the gu-
Whoa.
yeah, the guy who invented the like button was on there.
Oh, wow.
I'm like,
Daniel
oh my-
like.
yeah, like,
Daniel, like,
dude, it was.
he's like, this
it's
works
crazy.
out perfectly.
Well, like it's crazy to like. Okay, so this is kind of not about music at all, but like
Right.
it was crazy because they're talking about it like. So when you think about it, what do Facebook or Google or anybody like them sell? And everybody's like, oh, well, they sell advertising space. And in reality, no, they don't. They sell views on ads. So what are they selling? They're selling your views. They're selling you. So
Wow.
when you think about it that way, all of their, it's like people are worried about selling data. They're like, oh, they're going to sell my data for profit. It's like, no, they're not, because there's no financial incentive for them to sell your data. They want you to spend more time on their platform because then they can show you more ads and make more money, which I literally run Facebook ads for my job. I'm somebody who directly profits off this system. Like, it's crazy because when you're thinking about, like, right now with everything is so polarized between, you know, politics and racial issues and things like that. And when you look at whatever side you're on, it doesn't matter. When you look at the other side, so often we think, are you guys just not seeing the facts? Like, what is happening?
Right.
And in reality, they are not seeing the facts because
They're literally
they're-
seeing a version of the world.
yeah,
Mhm.
they're seeing a version
Wow.
of the world that is catered to them because the algorithms show you things that you are likely to engage with. It's like, oh man,
Oh,
It's-
dude, I'm gonna go after this. I'm gonna go watch
dude,
that right now.
it's incredible. It's
Yeah.
so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Oh wow,
Wow.
algorithms
Yeah.
shifting
Great.
algorithms, keeping you in a perspective.
Yep.
Yeah.
Keeping you in
And
a
when you
box.
think about it that way, AI already runs the world.
Uh,
Stop
Truth.
it! Stop it! Stop it!
But
I
it's
feel like
truth.
Neo from the Matrix when he figures out the truth and he just throws up. He's like,
Yeah.
oh man, that's scary. But I mean, in a music sense, though, that's really cool because it's like, it's like, yeah, I have like my, you know, I listen to this style of music, and then that just shifts you into like, okay, well, here's maybe another band that you like, or another artist, or you know,
Yeah.
Spotify, all of that stuff too.
Yeah.
And so, in a music sense, that's cool. In a global scale, maybe not so much.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I feel like it's cool and it's also not cool. You know, like when you're trying to find something new and
Yeah.
like search a term that you think will give you new results. And it's like, well,
Right.
I've already seen all of this. I want
Yeah.
something new.
Even more new.
Yeah.
Newer.
Or new. Yeah. It's wild. It's wild to see where everything is going. And it's going to be cool to see, you know, where everything goes in the next 5 to 10 years and see how that helps or hinders the industry that we're all working in, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So many. I played a gig 2 Fridays ago in Empire, Michigan.
Nice.
There's
Nice. Sleeping Bear Sand Dunes, man.
yeah. It was at this RV park, Indigo Bluffs, I think they're called.
Yeah.
And they were kind of guinea pigging, like, oh, how do we do shows? And the dude who was like running the place used to also be involved on like a touring media company that would, like, you know, they'd follow you two for a few shows and like take a bunch of footage and clip it into like, you know, promo stuff or other things, and or they'd jump on another band and you know, that company's just gone.
Wow.
I was talking with him and he's like, yeah, you know, that company just, after a while, it disbanded, and now I'm putting my focus here until I figure out another thing. And
Wow.
so I'm like, a lot of changes.
Yeah. That's a
Whole
huge change.
business is gone.
Yeah.
Uprooting your entire life, career.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I got to do something completely different now.
Right.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. Dutcher, thank you so much for being a part of this. We really appreciate you. We appreciate your talent.
Yeah.
We appreciate, dude, it's awesome just talking to you. We haven't talked to you in a long time, so it's great just catching up with you. And
Oh yeah.
yeah, man, great stuff you said the past 2 hours. And I mean, every podcast we're coming out learning something new, and we learned a whole bunch of new stuff today. So we really appreciate you being here and joining us in this crazy journey of music, specifically this year in 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anytime. This is fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. I mean, I firmly believe that as human beings, our time is our most valuable asset, and for you to come in and give us your time for a little while and talk with us about music and the industry and the world, it means a lot. So thank you so much, Dutcher.
Yeah. No problem.